Hey, everybody, welcome. Thanks for joining me. I'll tell you in a minute why I titled this video, I'm Done Running. And ironically, it looks like I'm in some sort of bunker somewhere, but actually, I'm just visiting family. But anyway, yes, I will. I already see some great questions in the chat. Um, but yeah, thanks for joining me. So, this video is going to serve two purposes. First, I'm going to start off by talking about some of the continued attacks, continued efforts to basically destroy or at least stop from reporting anyone who is revealing the truth about the American empire, the truth about our endless bombing, our endless world wars, our proxy wars going on right now, Ukraine. The efforts are immense and they're heating up and ramping up, and I want to get into some of that. So I'm going to do that first, but I'm also going to use this video to explain why I am switching to locals.com instead of Patreon. That's where you can support me, but I'll get into that in 1 minute. I'm sure you have a million questions, as do I. I myself want to know why the fuck I'm doing what I'm doing. No, but so let's talk about the censorship first. It's been like when you actually add it all up, what's gone down in recent weeks, it's pretty incredible. Because each one instance just sounds like, oh, that's kind of weird. It's like, oh, YouTube banned this one person or demonetized this one person, and people are like, that kind of sucks. But let's move on with our lives. But when you add them all up, when you look at the list of what's gone down in just the past few weeks, it's pretty incredible. So, of course, there's the stuff that's happened to me. Again, simply for being anti-war, anti-empire, anti-imperialism, anti-colonialism, the destruction of other nations for our own profit and gain. Being opposed to those things has made me, I'd say, the most censored comedian in America, at least one of them. Honestly, those are the reasons. But as you all know, TV show canceled because of U.S. sanctions. All my past videos banned on YouTube. All the Redacted Tonight episodes. My podcast banned on Spotify and deleted on Spotify. But Spotify, so now we're adding to this list of this immense censorship and attacks. Spotify also deleted By Any Means Necessary. Great, incredible radio show. You should check it out if you haven't already. And then Tara Reid's podcast as well. Tara Reid, of course, Joe Biden's accuser, right? As she says, a survivor of an attack by a sexual assault attack on her by Joe Biden, and her show deleted by Spotify. So that shows who Spotify is defending, right? That shows who they're willing to crush in order to allow the U.S. propaganda to get full mouthpiece, full airing on our mainstream media, on our media in general, because Spotify, is supposedly not mainstream media, I guess, depending on how you want to think about it. But it's not just RT personalities. I see someone said, well, all the RT personalities are being attacked. That is true. And of course, now former RT personalities. I have no affiliation any longer with RT. But it's many people beyond that. Just in the recent days, Mint Press News, Alan McLeod, a great journalist, and Consortium News. So these are two incredibly impressive outlets. I mean, I'm a huge fan of both of them. Mint Press, I'm starting my new show with, and Consortium News does incredible stuff. All their PayPals have been deleted in the past few days with little to no explanation. It says, like, we don't like some of the behavior we saw. Your account's gone. Consortium News has also said that PayPal says they may be stealing the funds that were being held in PayPal. So, for those of you who haven't used PayPal or haven't received money on PayPal, it sits inside PayPal until you withdraw it. So if Consortium News had thousands of dollars sitting inside PayPal and they hadn't withdrawn it yet, maybe they withdraw it once a month or something. They hadn't withdrawn it yet. That PayPal's stealing that money from them. That's what they've said they're likely going to do. So these are excellent outlets that are doing great work in all regards. the Mint Press has also had other assaults on it, such as their GoFundMe campaign was shut down. Now they're at Indiegogo, but GoFundMe shut down with very little explanation. Also, one of their main personalities, Loki, the rapper, has been mercilessly attacked for being anti-Semitic just because he is spends a lot of his time and his efforts promoting the Palestinian cause and talking about the apartheid state in Israel, which is undeniable. So, again, for doing excellent journalism, he's being attacked, and they're trying to get his stuff deleted from Spotify, as mine was. But in his case, he's a rapper, so having all of his music deleted from Spotify would be a huge hit to him. It hasn't happened yet, but they're trying very hard. So going down the list, this is all in the past few weeks. Twitter has, of course, aggressively labeled all kinds of people. They putting Russian state media across people's Twitter accounts, even people that no longer have any affiliation with Russian state media. They have gone and put a label across their account that says Russian state media, despite that, such as former MP in Britain, George Galloway, and they even did it to Ed Schultz, who most people know as the MSNBC newsman. He was one of the main shows on MSNBC for years, and then he had a show on RT for a couple of years. But they labeled his Twitter account Russian state media recently, even though he's been dead for 4 years. How long does a dude have to be in the grave before you come after him with your McCarthyite scarlet letter bullshit? Apparently 4 years not enough. So then, of course, there's the endless shadow banning. This goes without saying. The shadow banning on Facebook, the shadow banning on Twitter, people's profiles that are reporting the truth about Ukraine, the truth about what's going on in this world. Their stuff is not even shown to people. You post it, you get 2 retweets because it's not actually being shown to people. So this stuff is all ramping up in a big way. And then, of course, there's the media attacks that have come after us. There was a New York Times article that I did a video tearing apart that was basically devoted to, or a fair chunk of it, devoted to attacking Ben Norton, great journalist, going after him. Specifically going after him for an interview he did on my show, Redacted Tonight, before Redacted Tonight was canceled. So there's that New York Times article. There's been other articles attacking people and attacking these excellent outlets. And here's the latest one, which I just want to show you the image of it. I'm not going to break down the article right now. I'll probably do another episode on it later in the next few days. But an attack piece came out in one of our proud and prestigious total trash outlets, Daily Beast, devote their time to bullshit garbage attacks on anyone who is even slightly left of corporate fucking clusterfuck, to use technical terminology. Anyone who's slightly left, even just like a Bernie Sanders left, that's unacceptable, and they will attack them mercilessly. They also nearly got a journalist killed in Ukraine, Gonzalez Lira, who was over there reporting the truth from Ukraine. He's Latin American, but lives in Ukraine. And they essentially doxed him, wrote an article about how he should be stopped. And then the Ukrainian security forces picked him up. Luckily, he was not killed, but he very well could have been by the Nazis involved in Ukrainian security. Anyway, I'm just going to show you the image. This is the banner image at the top of this latest attack piece. Where do we go? So as you can see, you got Vladimir Putin apparently overseeing us like some sort of Sith Lord. He's Emperor Palpatine, right? He's that weird dude who looks like he's elderly and sits in a robe somewhere. So his eyes are in the sky over top of us. Then you've got secondary puppet master, me, right here. They added a red filter to these images to make us seem, I don't know, red, communist, I guess, or like dark Siths, again. So I'm apparently the puppet master over Ben Norton on my my left, well, right of this on the right side of the screen, and Max Blumenthal to the on the left side of the screen, and then both excellent journalists. Ben Norton has an amazing site, Multipolarista. Max Blumenthal, Gray Zone. You probably know these people. Apparently, I am somehow overseeing, puppet mastering them. And then down here in the front, we have Jingjing Li. She's with CGTN. And she largely does like a travel blog in China that is rather popular. She's been on Redacted Tonight. And, you can go watch it and be like, oh my God, what terrible propaganda she's doing. So that's her. Then you have Danny Haifong, American, who writes for Black Agenda Report and does his own thing as well, and does excellent journalism. A lot of it about China, a lot of it about the propaganda against China. And then over on the far side over here, we have Samira Khan. She used to be at RT. But this image alone, the level of propaganda in just the image for the article is like amazing. Like, I want to know what the meeting was like when they sat down and they were like, here's what I need. I need Putin over top, like he's in all their brains and he's telling them what to say. And then I need Lee Camp, but add some sort of filter that makes him look like a dirty red, dirty red communist. And then add that filter to Ben Norton as well, because, dirty red, dark Sith, like Star Wars. You remember those guys with the face paint and shit? Now, because that's what they're doing. They're in people's heads. Then on top of that, again, this is just the propaganda in the banner image. So these are supposedly quotes from us that are on the screen. The one at the top, I have no idea who said it, but I wouldn't at all be surprised if it was satirical. Long live Russian and may God support Putin. I don't know everything that, Samira Khan writes. Maybe this was actually tweeted by someone, but I can almost guarantee you it was meant to be satiric, as in ha ha ha. But then if you truly, and I don't know who posted this one either, because I'm the only one that's given credit for something on this banner image. If you truly are against the war in Ukraine, you must also be against the U.S. and NATO, which started that war. In many regards, that's pretty inarguable, right? It wouldn't have happened without U.S. and NATO. And as I've said endlessly, I'm opposed to the Russian invasion. So at no point have I ever said I support the Russian invasion, but that doesn't matter to them. Not at all. Apparently Putin's overseeing me and telling me to say that I don't support the Russian invasion, which it would be very odd if that were the case. But here's the only one that's given credit. It's my tweet, which they covered up most of it because I think they were afraid that if people read the actual tweet, they'd be like, well, that makes a lot of sense. Let's see if I can remember part of what, but it was a former NATO analyst has blown the whistle on the propagandist narrative of what's happening in Ukraine, something like that. And if you actually watch the video or read the article that the video is based on, which that NATO analyst, he is a real retired NATO analyst. So nothing is fake in that tweet. If you actually watch the video or whatever, I'm just going through what he said. So again, no lies here, no falsehoods. And I think they were afraid that if they showed this full tweet by me and didn't put Max's head over it, that people might be like, that sounds interesting. I want to go see that. Un Gato is asking what this image is. This is the attack piece written about me in the Daily Beast, which I'm not going to go, like I said, I'm not going to go through the article right now. I'll probably do a segment on it later. But that's all of the propaganda just in the image. And this is what we're dealing with. This is what those of us who are not mainstream media have to deal with on a regular basis now. How fucking insane is that? So okay. I wanted to go through that, to go through with the type of persecution we're dealing with right now in order to explain my next part of this video, which is that I am so Redacted Tonight shut down. Immediately, I was like, okay, well, how can I keep doing what I do, right? I hope you people appreciate it. Probably the reason, several thousand of you watch these is because you think what I'm doing is important or useful in some way. In some way, you view it as important or useful, or maybe just funny. But either way, so I wanted to keep doing it. And in order to do something that even remotely looks like Redacted Tonight, I'm going to need a lot of patrons. I'm going to need some support. So I created a Patreon. Like that's at the time, 2 months ago, that was the only site I knew that even did that well, where you could have exclusive content and people would join up for the exclusive content. You know, I didn't do tons of research, but that was the one I knew people used. So I went on Patreon, had a successful campaign. I'm still there, by the way. If you all are supporters, then thank you for being supporters, and I'll explain next steps. But now I am switching. I am already leaving Patreon, which I imagine some of you are like, for fuck Christ, man, make up your mind. You're making us dizzy. I'm dizzy too, okay? And I'm about to tell you why I'm switching. I'm about to give you all the reasons and lay them all out. So here are the reasons. I am going, first of all, I'll tell you where I'm going. I'm going to, the website's in the corner of the screen. I'm pointing to the wrong corner of the screen. The website is leecamp.locals.com. Locals.com is a site that is somewhat a Patreon competitor. I have no idea why it sounds like the name of like a small town dating site where, you know, a guy who owns 13 pet iguanas is looking for a lady to fall in love with who happens to enjoy feeding crickets to live animals. I don't know why they named their site that, but that's what it sounds like. So anyway, locals.com, again, sounds like a dating site. Don't know what that decision was, but doesn't matter. Patreon, just like these other big tech sites, is involved in this censorship. They have been deleting people who just for being journalists. Now, some of them are journalists that I disagree with. Most of the ones they've been deleting are right-wing journalists. They deleted a guy recently. Let's see, I can pull this up and show it to you. They deleted a guy just a month ago. Sorry for the delay. But if I sing about it, it makes it seem like it's not so long, even if I can't carry a tune. So don't follow this guy. I'm sure his stuff's garbage because he's a right-winger. But his podcast, he basically was banned from Patreon. This is like a month ago, 2 months ago. Banned from Patreon within an hour of appearing on InfoWars, Alex Jones thing, right? So he appears on Alex Jones' garbage, bullshit, horrible, fucking out of his mind show. And I'm sure whoever that guy is, I'm sure he's out of his goddamn mind too. But all he was doing is talking, okay? All he was doing is giving his right-wing view, and Patreon deletes him. They also deleted people that were not right-wing. They deleted, I found out a year ago or 2 years ago, they deleted Whitney Webb, the journalist. And they give these people little to no explanation. They say something like for behavior outside of Patreon or something like that. And this means for me trying to do what I do, trying to create my show, that at any moment, my entire platform, everything I've worked, luckily I've only been really doing the Patreon for a couple of months, but if I'd been there for 5 years, like many people have, and they just, it's all gone. It's like trying to build a house on quicksand. And to me, that just seems insane. It just seems for me or creators to put that kind of effort, and this goes for all these big tech platforms, that kind of effort into making something, into creating something that can be sustainable, that can keep going and can have an impact, and to have it just fucking deleted It seems like insanity to even risk that. I don't know whether Patreon is only deleting right wingers right now, but I know what the other big tech platforms are doing, and I know Patreon is not seeming much different. So for me to watch my Facebook get shadow banned, watch my YouTube videos get banned globally, the Redacted Night videos, watch my podcast get deleted by Spotify, watch my Twitter be shadow banned or at least shadow suppressed, watch all that to happen and to go, you know what? I'm going to keep doing it. I'm going to keep doing it on these same style big tech platforms would be insanity if there's another option. And in this case, there is. So I'm going to leecamp.locals.com, but that's not the only reason. That is by far the biggest reason. It just seems insane to keep building on Patreon. Now, by the way, if you donate on Patreon, I'm not turning it off yet. You know, if I turn off the Patreon, it'll be months from now. So for you to switch, you would just cancel your Patreon and go to locals, leecamp.locals.com. But I'll get into more of that in a second. Another thing Patreon did to me, and this is, like I said, I basically got on Patreon 2 months ago, but I had a small Patreon just to help fund, and it didn't even cover the cost, help fund the podcast I do with Eleanor Goldfield called Common Censored. It was bringing in like $200 a month or something. We barely mentioned it. It was meant to try and help cover the costs. Patreon, this is like a year ago, Patreon made some switch where they hardly tell me about it. And they're like, oh yeah, just switch this, click this on and click that off in your settings and it'll be better. And so I, being dumb enough to think they had our best interest in mind, I clicked the thing. It then immediately cuts that income, the $200, by 3/4, down to 25% of what it was. And they say, sorry, we can't reverse that. And so that wasn't them censoring me specifically. They weren't like, we're going after Lee Camp. This is just them being a shitty company. And I complained to them and they said, and I was like, thank God I'm not working bigger with Patreon because they just fucking they just cut everything by 75% on me, cut the income by 75%, and they didn't seem to care at all. All right. So that's the biggest reason I'm switching. But like I said, there are more reasons. So they don't censor. So Locals does not. They have a policy of not censoring creators as long as they're not promoting anything illegal. So obviously, if it were someone like, hey guys, sign on up for child porn, then they would censor that. But they don't censor anything that's not illegal. And to me, that's important because I now know, and I suppose you could have known this going in years ago, 10 years ago, that big tech, unless that's their policy, unless that's what they're built on, will always cave to whatever our government wants. And our government wants you to not know the truth. They want you to just cave for State Department talking points, cave for, just be bootlickers for empire. If you're bootlickers for empire, like our mainstream media, and honestly, like a lot of YouTube personalities as well, if you're bootlickers for empire, then no worries. You will not be deleted. You will not be shadow banned. You will not be suppressed. Keep doing it. You'll do wonderful. But outside of that, there's no reason we should trust big tech unless the site's whole policy is we're not going to censor. So, but the second reason I'm moving to leecamp.locals.com is that it has more than Patreon. It features more than Patreon. Let me see if I can pull it up and show it to you. It looks a little like Facebook, which allows us to create a community, me and you, in a way that Patreon doesn't at all. So I can put my videos up there for you to see. And if you aren't a patron of mine, you can still be involved in this community at different levels. You can, just like on Patreon, some of the videos are for free. Some of the videos are patrons only, similar stuff, but it's kind of like a way to interact. Sorry, I'm having trouble with the words. I don't know why. But all right, so here's what locals looks like, and as you can see, there's posts by people other than me, which is different than Patreon. Podcast by George has already become a supporter, even though I've barely even announced this, so there aren't many supporters yet. But podcast by George commented that he's in, and here's one of my videos. Here's another one, but there's much more interaction. Like, we can talk, we can chat. I will be doing weekly Q&As on locals where I can interact with you, and in a much deeper and much more real way. And I really want to do that, now that I don't have to be in a news studio all day. I mean, I will be creating a new show, but it's different than having to be in a news studio all day. I want to interact with you more. I want to have that time and really, hopefully, have some real, genuine and important conversations on moving forward, on creating a sustainable world, on fighting against war, on all the things that have made me the most censored comedian in America. And I want to be able to do that. And so this platform is allowing that. Like I said, weekly Q&As. I'll be doing plenty of live streams. So, sorry, I lost my train of thought. But yeah, there's much more ways to communicate and to talk on there. So that's the second reason I'm moving over. And those are the biggest two. I'm not going to be censored, and I can have a community with you guys, and hopefully build something long term where I don't have to worry every goddamn day that some terrible mainstream media piece is going to, do what they've been doing, which is they call up the platforms where you are, and they try and get those platforms to delete you. So like Daily Beast and New York Times and stuff will send email after email to Patreon saying, I'm with the New York Times. Is it true you platform, maniacs, Putin lovers like Lee Camp? And they try and get these platforms to delete us. That's not the case with locals, because locals' entire business model is on, as long as you aren't promoting illegal shit, they're not going to censor you. So those are the biggest two reasons I'm moving. The third reason, though, a little bit smaller but still important, is there's no algorithm on locals, because locals, you and I have our own community. Like leecamp.locals.com is our own little interaction page. So there's no, as long as you're a member there, there's no algorithm that's deciding whether my stuff is important. There's no unknown mystery sauce that is being sprinkled over whether you find out about my stuff or not. Let's see, we'll do that view for a while. If you're a part of this community, you'll be a part of the community. And that is completely different than Facebook, Twitter, YouTube. YouTube, even if you subscribe to someone. So I don't know if you know this. YouTube had a bunch of different shifts over the years. At first, if you hit subscribe on YouTube, then you would get an email saying that person had put up a new video. Then they decided, you know what? We don't want to tell everybody about every video they've subscribed to. So we're going to stop telling subscribers that your videos have been put up, especially if we don't like you, especially if the algorithm doesn't like you. So then they said, only if you hit subscribe and hit the bell icon will we, this little like bell that no one knew to push, only then will we tell you, send you an email about a new video. But now, even that, if they're censoring us, if they're shadow banning us, they're not even telling the people that click the goddamn bell whether our videos go out. So in a way, you are being crushed by this algorithm that is deciding, you know what, you're kind of dangerous. You have words in your titles like U.S. empire, or supporting terrorism, or bombing other countries, or Joe Biden. You have scary terms like that in your titles, and so we're not going to tell your viewers about your videos. So that's how the algorithm is screwing you. And it's making you guys who, let's say you subscribed to want to hear about our stuff, you're not finding out about it. whether it's me or someone else. So with this new thing I'm creating, leecamp.locals.com, algorithm won't matter. There is no algorithm. So you won't be crushed by an algorithm that decides it doesn't like you because you're one of the ne'er-do-wells. You seem to be pushing thoughts that are kind of scurry. They're scurrying people. They're scurrying. So that's another reason I'm moving from Patreon to leecamp.locals.com. So now I want to list some questions that I assume you might have about this switch, especially if you've looked up Locals before. Number one, and I want to address these questions. Number one, wasn't Locals bought by Rumble, and isn't Rumble a right-wing thing? Okay, Rumble did buy Locals. So Rumble, it's tough to say Locals and not end up saying Rumbles. And then you end up in Rumpelstiltskin territory, and that's the problem. Rumble did buy Locals. But the reason any of these sites become known as a right-wing thing is because they offer an uncensored platform. And so who runs over there first? Well, it's going to be the right-wingers who, I don't know why most of them are getting banned from Facebook. Maybe it's for saying racist shit. I don't know. But they end up being suppressed first, and then they run to the platforms that allow them to speak uncensored. And so those platforms end up having more right-wingers at first. But Rumble has been growing, and it is not just right-wingers. One of the biggest names on Rumble right now is Russell Brand. Russell Brand, which you can love him or hate him, is not right-wing. From what I've seen and what I've seen over many years, I mean, I've had some correspondence with him, but very few, like a few emails here or there. But he was a huge supporter of Occupy. That's kind of what politicized him. There may be some topics where you could say he's a libertarian on, but I'd say most of his stuff is pretty left wing. Even if you think he may have some things wrong, I think calling him right winger would be quite a stretch. So that's one of the biggest voices on Rumble. Like if you look at who's getting the most views, Jimmy Dore, I believe, gets a lot of views on Rumble. So there are plenty of voices that are not right wing on Rumble. But even if that were the case, that there's more right wingers on Rumble than others, well, guess what, big tech? You fucking censored us into oblivion. You made it so that left-wingers, anti-war people, anti-imperialist people, people talking about systemic racism, people talking about the prison industrial complex, people talking about climate change, talking about environmental destruction, people talking about all those things can't actually be heard anymore. So for better or worse, you have forced us to platforms that allow us to speak our minds and to speak the truth. And that's where I got to go, and that's where we got to go, and we got to build these things up, okay? So that's question number one. And yes, I will be posting my videos on Rumble. I will have a Rumble channel as well that I will be talking about because unlike YouTube, Rumble is going to allow my stuff to grow. YouTube, for those who don't know, Redacted at Night became very big on YouTube back in 2016, 2015. We were getting hundreds of thousands of views per video. The moment that election happened, Trump gets into office, Bernie Sanders gets crushed by a rigged primary system. And the moment that election happened, they destroyed all of Redacted at Night's views. We went from 100,000 a video down to like at times 5,000. I mean, nothing. It was like we were a kid in his basement putting on some, doing one of those makeup shows. And Redacted at Night had a bunch of other platforms. We were on television around the world. So it wasn't like that was the only place we were. But YouTube crushed that channel and then banned it outright. So now it's all banned globally. But it's like, I got to move to a video platform that is not going to do that to me. That's not going to censor me like that. So I will also be doing stuff on Rumble. But like I said, my main focus is hopefully you will see it as beneficial to keep supporting my stuff on Locals and and hopefully we can create a community over there that you want to be a part of, where we can talk about what's really happening in this world, and how to fix it, how to at least get on the path of fixing it, how to get towards better. The DC Metro had a slogan. It was like on all the billboards and everything. DC Metro said, DC Metro, back to good. And I was like, wow, really shooting for the stars, DC Metro, huh? Well, anyway, that's my hope for America and the world. If we could just get back to good, if we could just get back to all right, then that would be massive. If we could get back to feasible, that would be amazing. Anyway, so let's see. Other questions you may have. Can I join the locals community without donating, without becoming a member? Which the bottom tier is, or the bottom amount is $5 a month. So it's $1.25 a week, $1.25 a week. And if that is still beyond your means and you still can't do it, yes, you actually can be part of the community at leecamp.locals.com without donating. You certain aspects will be certain videos won't be viewable, and certain aspects won't be certain things you can do you might not be able to do, but yes, you can be a part of it. So it's not like you'll just go there and it just laughs in your face because you don't have $1.25 a week. Let's see. Is there any way to try out the page without donating to get a trial run? Yes, I'm glad you asked. I have a promo code for you. It will let you join for free for a month. And whether you're thinking of doing it, not thinking of doing it, please go do this, because it'll help. It'll help create a vibrant community. Hopefully eventually I can talk you into becoming a full member. But either way, you'll get a free month with no obligation, as they say. I love that. Like, they're going to be like, you get a free month, but also you have to have sex with me. You get a free month, but also you need to take care of my dog for a week. Well, yeah, don't give people a free anything with obligation. So anyway, the promo code is keep fighting, one word, all caps. Keep fighting, one word, all caps. That's what I say at the end of every show. So when you go over to leecamp.locals.com, you put in the promo code, and I will put it in the comment section. Put in this promo code, and it'll get you a free month. No obligation. But just remember to do all caps and one word. So that's at leecamp.locals.com. Let's see if I had any more questions. I assume you were going to ask. Oh, if you're thinking, I already donated on Patreon, I already joined the Patreon effort, do you want me to end my Patreon donation and head to locals, switch to locals? Yes. I'm not going to turn off the Patreon immediately, but yes, go to Patreon, cancel your Patreon subscription, and join. Hopefully at the same level. You can join it on the locals thing. You can join at any levels. Five is the bottom, but you can do any amount. So I hope you'll join locals at the same amount you were at Patreon, or higher if you have it. But I hope you'll join over there at leecamp.locals.com and use the promo code Keep Fighting if you want a free month. Let's see. Do you guys have any questions? Dusan says no sex. Thanks for the free months, but no sex. All right, fair point. Well made. Someone says they stole the catchphrase, keep fighting. Thanks for giving me credit for it. I know I'm not the first to say it. I'm sure many people over the years have been saying it, but I do use it a lot. I use it a lot, so. Let's see. Thanks. I'm visiting relatives, so no, careful. I did a careful backdrop design on this one, yeah. Well, Katie says she tried and it said invalid code. Let me know if anybody else gets that, and I will have to look into it. It should be valid. That would be a problem if the code isn't working. But anyway. Is our government a terrorist organization? Yeah, I'd say so in many regards. I mean, they spend all of their money, nearly all of their money, on bombing and obliterating other countries or sending weapons to other countries to try and bomb and obliterate other people. So yeah. Hey, good question, secular progressive. I've actually had. I'm good friends with Rania. She's amazing. She does amazing work. Not only have I had her on Redacted Tonight multiple times, but I tried to have her on my live stream, this right here, a few weeks ago, and weirdly, her internet was not working. So she appeared in the in the back room or whatever they call it here on StreamYard, and she kept freezing. So literally, we couldn't even have a conversation. And I need to have her back. Anyway, that's the end of the story. She says that it's because of the fuel shit that's going on in, with Ukraine, Russia putting the hurt on Europe, which anyone creating this proxy war should have known they'd do. Anyway, it's all had an impact about oil prices around the world, which has impacted Lebanon, where she is. And so therefore it impacted the power in her building, which impacted her ability to join us. But yes, I will have Rania back soon. Okay, good question. Windoff. Rad Indie Media or Local is the best medium for donating. So Rad Indie Media, there is a donate button to help fund that effort. Again, I lose money on Rad Indie Media. It's not a money making effort. Basically, I create all these things where I just lose money. There is a donate button on Rad Indie Media, but I would rather you support my stuff on Locals because it's a more interactive thing. It's just a lot more. The donate button on Rad Indie Media is just specifically if someone wants to throw a few coins to try and keep Rad Indie Media going, because you'll notice there's no ads, there's no sponsors, there's no commercials or anything on it. Then please feel free. But yes, if you're choosing between one or the others, then please join me on Locals. Thanks, Katie. By the way, did anyone else find out if the promo code is not working? That would blow. Anyway, if it's not, I'll tell you this. If you're watching this video and you hear me say it's not working, it's probably working by then because we've probably fixed it. So anyway, if it's not working for you right now, give it a few hours and we'll fix it. Thanks, Katie. Katie says merch would be awesome for my stuff. I have been hesitant on the merch. You might have noticed I don't have tons of merch. I do sometimes hold up a redacted mug, but the Redacted Tonight mugs we only gave away at at our live shows. And I don't sell them online. I would give away, or I would sell t-shirts to some degree on my live shows, but I didn't have millions of live shows, so it wasn't like millions of t-shirts. My fear with creating an actual large merch thing is that I don't want to feed into endless consumerism. I don't want thousands of t-shirts floating in the oceans as whales go to inhale them. As a whale is choking on a Redacted Tonight t-shirt, I'm just going to be like, that kind of sucks. I kind of wish that whale's blowhole didn't have a Redacted Tonight t-shirt in it. So I've always been kind of opposed to the large scale, like, here's hordes of merch, get my mug and this and blue, get a blue. However, in a very limited way, I could see doing something Graham Elwood and I have talked about for Government Secrets. We've talked about maybe having some limited run thing, but I just don't want it to be all over the place. Let's see. Is Indiegogo different? I actually don't know much about Indiegogo. I just know that Mint Press switched to Indiegogo after GoFundMe shut them down for no reason. So clearly GoFundMe sucks balls. Thank you all so much for the donations, by the way, those of you who've been donating on here. But I would prefer, but if this is how you'd rather do it, fine. But I would prefer you sign up at leecamp.locals.com, because with donations on here, YouTube does take a bigger cut, and Locals takes a smaller cut than Patreon. It's not much at all, and so yet another way that Locals is better. All right, someone's seconding the merch thing. Well, the merch pressure is hot. Let's see. Someone saying stand with Gaza. Absolutely. I mean to do another segment. I've been caught up in a lot of things. Shifting jobs, moving apartments, all this shit. So I want to do an episode soon on what's been going on in Israel, the attack on Al Aqsa recently. But I just haven't had the time. Maybe I'll bring Dan Cohen on again. Thank you. Oh, reacted tonight. I think they meant to say to redacted tonight, but I like reacted. Maybe I'll name a new show reacted tonight. Let's see here. Thank you. I'll check that Locals thingamajiggy. Well said. So, guys, again, you see the attacks going on. You see the online persecution of those of us revealing the truth, of those of us that are showing what's going on right now to be a proxy war, that are showing the just severe harm to the American people, even as we spend billions and billions on military and guns and bombs. We can't fucking house Americans. You can watch video of just streets lined with tent cities, people living in tents. We have 17 million empty living spaces in America. We have more money than anyone could ever spend, and we cannot take care of our own people while we send weapons and arms and bombs and weapons of death to other countries to kill people. And for those of us discussing this, we are suppressed. We are censored. We are covered up. I am the most censored comedian in America. Listen, I may be, if someone has a good argument for someone who's a more censored comedian in America, then let me know. I will entertain it. I'm not precious on that moniker, on that award that I've won. But the other comedians that people seem to claim are censored are not. Dave Chappelle and Joe Rogan have the biggest platforms in the world. So and Louis C.K. just won a goddamn Grammy. Okay. So okay. I meant currently living and performing comedy, because Old Pretender has a good point. Lenny Bruce definitely beats me out. Lenny Bruce was driven to his death by being arrested at every show, or, he wasn't arrested at every show, but he was arrested at a lot of shows. The threat of arrest meant that venues would stop booking him. The venues were threatened with having their liquor license taken away, meaning they could not continue to operate. Lenny Bruce was chased around this country by cops until he overdosed. Now, I get it. You can say, well, that's his own fault. He overdosed. Yes, but his life was destroyed by our government because he was commenting on religion. He was saying how much bullshit that is. He was commenting on our government, and they really did chase him to his death. So yes, I am not more censored than Lenny Bruce. However, I meant currently living and operating as a comedian. Let's see. Would I be a guest on Joe Rogan's podcast again? Yeah, I'd go on again. Why not? I used to be friendly with the guy. I haven't talked to him in years, but I can have. Here's the thing: is you got to be willing to have disagreements with people and still work with them on some things. I have disagreements with Joe Rogan. I did a whole video on how stupid one of his interviews was, on where he had on some ridiculous North Korea propagandist. So it's not like he gets everything right, but I don't expect that from anyone. I have people email me and they go, I love your stuff, but I don't agree with every word. And I'm like, you probably shouldn't. Like, if you agree with 100% of what someone's saying, never once have they spoken a word you disagree with, that'd be kind of weird. But the thing is, if we want to change this world, if we want to create a sustainable planet, if we want to create a planet that is based on cooperation and love and not hatred and disgust and killing, then we're going to have to work with some people we don't always agree with. Now, there should be limits. Absolutely, there should be limits. When some fucking idiot leftist says, oh, yeah, let's sit down and work with Nazis because we agree with them on A, B, and C, fuck that. There should be limits. Just like the fact that MSNBC right now is working with Nazis because they are promoting the Azov Battalion, they're promoting the Nazis in the Ukrainian government. Literally, CNN had a Nazi on their fucking screen talking about what a great job fighting in Ukraine he was doing. PBS did an interview with a Nazi sympathizing mayor in Ukraine talking about how wonderful he was doing. And behind him was a lightly blurred out image of Stepan Bandera, the hero of the Nazis in Ukraine right now. There need to be limits of who you cooperate with. However, the idea that I will never cooperate with someone that I do not 100% agree with would be ridiculous. All right. And you get nowhere. If you decide that, well, you and I, for example, religion. Earlier I mentioned, because I talked about Lenny Bruce, earlier I mentioned religion being bullshit. You know the number of people I work with on like being anti-war, on being anti-factory farming, on being anti-imperialist, on being pro-peace, on being pro-doing goddamn anything about climate change? Do you know the number of people I work with or interview or somehow promote who are religious? That means we disagree, don't we? We have a major disagreement on something about life, but I don't view it as barring me from working with them. I don't view them as being fucking idiots or tools or anything. It's just a disagreement. But if that person had a belief that, I don't know, like all the Jews should be killed or all the black people should be killed, like Nazis do, then I don't want to work with them, speak about them, interview them, platform them. So there need to be limits. Do you get it? Is it starting to make a little sense? And this is why when someone claims to be left-wing and then platforms far-right extremists that want to, recreate the Holocaust, then I'm not down with that. Call me crazy. Call that a fucking loony idea. But I think it makes a lot of sense. Thank you, Scott. I appreciate it. Anyway, let's see what Jim has to say. Thank you for the donation, Jim. Brothers, greetings from India. I'm looking to transfer money from India to Russia. Any other options in crypto? All banking options are closed. I have no idea what the answer to that is. And I don't know where he's looking to transfer money. Maybe he just has a business that crosses national borders, because national borders are fucking dumb. But yeah, if anybody has advice for him, feel free to put it in the comment section. Thank you. Oops, I lost it. Thank you, Question Everything. I appreciate that. Lee, I've been a fan and a follower for years. You are funny and seem to have a distaste. Yeah, it's just a slight distaste. See, judging by the sheer number of curse words, you seem to have a slight distaste for injustice and lying, especially from government and political parties. Me too. Thank you, Question Everything. Hopefully discussions like this, like me with you right now, is what I will be able to do more of at leecamp.locals.com. So again, please join over there. If you're not sure about the $5 a month or above, then use the promo code Keep Fighting, all caps, one word, and that will get you a free month. So please just join over there. You don't have to pay anything. You could use the promo code Keep Fighting, all caps, one word. And if it's not working, we'll have it fixed soon. Join me over there. Would mean a lot. Someone asked for the link. So I'm going to type it in here, but I've been saying it a lot. leecamp.locals.com. I'll put that in there. And then I'll put in the promo code as well. So, yeah, leecamp.locals.com. No war but class war. I agree. Ruby's asking if I still tour. Yes, I want to. I'll say that. I want to. There's been a lot of problems with touring recently. The biggest one has been COVID. Even if you yourself are fine with going out to a show, there are still many people who are not. And so that makes it very difficult to sell tickets. I'm not saying it's impossible. I know people are touring. I opened for Jimmy Dore at a couple of shows in Baltimore, but it just makes it a lot more difficult. So that's part of it. Another part of it is that I've just been kind of overwhelmed with dealing with the Redacted Tonight getting canceled, all the shifts, switching over to Patreon, getting that running. I did about 900 interviews about Redacted Tonight getting canceled and banned on YouTube. And I'm moving and switching jobs. So, by switching jobs, I mean switching to basically purely online instead of Redacted Tonight. And I'm creating a new show with Mint Press called The Most Censored News with Lee Camp. I will be telling you more about that as these days go on. Hopefully you will see the first episode before this month is out. And so that's a lot of it. And then, yeah, so it's been a time thing. And then the final aspect that has made it difficult is one of the easiest ways I had to tell people, I was able to tell people that I was coming to a city was by letting people know on Facebook, because on Facebook, I had the ability to say, hey, let my fans know in Poughkeepsie, good old Poughkeepsie, or Puffkeepsie, pronounced correctly. I could let people know in Poughkeepsie that I'm coming there, but now Facebook has suppressed me, into oblivion, basically. So I can't do that anymore, which makes it difficult to let people know I'm coming to a city. So there's that. Let's see here. Come to Scotland. Yes, I'd love to. I actually did many, many shows in Scotland. That in terms of doing a full hour, that is one of the places I've done the most hours of stand-up comedy, other than America, because I did the Edinburgh Fringe Festival 3 times. And for those who don't know, the Edinburgh Fringe Festival in Scotland is the largest. It's the largest comedy festival in the world. I mean, it's not just comedy, but that's comedy overwhelms it. It's overwhelming with comedy. And every night you perform unlike most comedy festivals where they're like, we have all these people on the show. You perform a full hour every day. So I did like 26 straight days of my full hour in Edinburgh, Scotland. And it's amazing. It's an abusive spouse. It's an amazing time, and at times you want to take your own life in a graphic way, because it is so tough to make it all work. But yes, I was painted as Rasputin, because apparently being a comedian who's anti-war and anti-imperialist is as evil as Rasputin or Stalin or some shit. All right, so I'm going to wrap it up, but I hope you get the point. I hope I answered the questions. I hope you understand why I'm going to Locals and Rumble. I will still be doing some videos, on this. You'll still see some of my stuff on Facebook and YouTube, but I've got to start building somewhere where I won't be canceled, where it won't be deleted. And either I change my opinion and stop being anti-war and stop calling out U.S. government propaganda. That's one way to go. or I got to go to platforms where they're going to stop doing this. And I know I've talked about Panquake. Panquake is also going to be awesome, but Panquake is it's not a Patreon substitute. It's a social media, uncensored social media. So it's not just like Facebook and Patreon could work together. You can have a Patreon and a Facebook page. It's similar with Panquake. So I will also be on Panquake. But in terms of supporting my work and being part of it, I want you to go over to leecamp.locals.com, join up. If you don't have the $1.25 a week, then please join up for free. Use the promo code Keep Fighting and keep fighting.